Get on up here, Johnny. Two-time national champion, Heisman winner, of course, and then our quarterback, Tommie Frazier. Pick your spot. Got 4 national championships up here. It's no big deal.
All right. I say Husker, you say power. Husker! 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 Every day's game day, y'all.
Johnny's already fired up. You guys haven't seen anything yet, really.
Yeah, you're not going to get that kind of energy from me right now.
You just wait, yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here once again. This is The Run. I'm your host, Anna Bellinghausen. Once again, Tommie Frazier, Johnny Rodgers, Husker legends joining me today. We're going to dive right in. So on Monday, we recapped the Colorado game. Obviously a loss, starting 0-2, but a big opportunity for the Huskers, of course, with Northern Illinois coming to Memorial. Matt Rule's debut at Memorial Stadium. Lots going on. Tommie, I want to start with you and your initial thoughts of going into this game. What do you need to see out of this Husker team?
Well, on defense, I just need to see them continue playing well. I need to see them. The one thing last week I said they have to get off the field on third down. The first half they did a great job of doing that, but the second half they went 7 for 9. You're not going to win very many games that way. So the defense just get off the field on third downs. They're going to be successful. In offense, don't turn the ball over. When they turn the ball over, it stops everything. It proved that they can move the ball up or down the field. But as soon as they turn the ball over, it just screws everything else up. So don't turn the ball over.
Defense wins games. Offense wins championships.
It's the other way around, down. It's the other way around. It's the other way around.
No, the defense wins the championships.
That's what you said the other way around.
All right, you got me covered.
I got you covered.
All right, we need to be covered.
I got you covered.
Well, we got to be winning. We got to be winning. Now, I think our defense did a great job. A great job. I think we're leading the country. Everybody knows we're tough. We got people going to stick it in there, and we really need to be dealt with because of our defense. I think we have some work to do on our special teams yet because they're not even thinking about making yards on special teams when you don't have to take it all the way back. You just got to get it where you can get a 3 here and a 3 there and come in and kick it in get a touchdown every now and then. And our offense, we just got to I've caught passes over my head.
Okay, this podcast might be about 3 hours long if we go there right away, guys.
Oh, especially the fans. The fans, their fans were we had really good fans. Their fans were horrible. I mean, I thought we were going to get in a fight a couple different times. They're swearing all the time up and down the place. People walk around acting like they bombing because you're making them vomit or something. I mean, it's no class at all. I mean, when you really get into winning, you have to do it with class. You have to do all the right things. And they need to take lessons from our fans on how to be quality fans and last for decades.
Yeah, exactly. Like everyone out here.
Right.
Well, luckily this Husker team is back home in Memorial with Husker Nation around them. This team is favored by 10.5 points over Northern Illinois. But I'm curious, if this Nebraska team wins a close game, is it still a success?
Yes, because they won.
Oh.
I always tell people, win the football game, whether you
Question mark this week, of course, is Jeff Sims in that quarterback position. The update currently from today's press conference is that his status is still uncertain. We won't really find out until Saturday on game day if Jeff Sims will be in the game, but that backup will be Heinrich Harburg, sophomore out of Kearney. Not very experienced, but we know he's athletic. He's a dual threat. Tommie, if you're a backup quarterback going in this position, what's your mindset? Question. Matt Rule's been really adamant that Jeff Sims is their guy. He went out in the transfer portal and got him, of course. So he's obviously a big Jeff Sims backer, but let's say Heinrich does have a super good game against Northern Illinois. Is this a situation where if Sims is healthy, you bring him back in, or you stick with Heinrich Harburg for the foreseeable future?
Well, it's one of those deals.
Does start. Tommie, you spoke about it on the last episode, but just that leash being shorter than usual. We've seen 8 turnovers and the majority of them at the hands of Jeff Sims. Tommie, what's your philosophy there on how they handle Jeff Sims if he does get into trouble again?
Well, I think
When can snowball and bring more of that energy and that light into this locker room, which I'm sure is kind of questioning things maybe right now, whether they admit it or not. What kind of morale boost can this win give Nebraska to propel them into the season? I know you guys didn't really deal with too much losing, but what's your mindset there and what this Nebraska team needs internally?
well, I
For this Husker team, but I want to talk about that 0-2 start. So an interesting stat here. Nebraska is the only Power 5 school to play 2 Power 5 away games to begin the season. Obviously not easy to do with the brand new staff and
Right.
a lot of freshmen, a lot of new players. I feel like that also needs to be taken into consideration. You just see the 0-2 stat, but how much weight do you put towards that start for how the season can go in the end?
I don't put much weight into it. As you said, they're playing a lot of young guys, and you have a new staff playing a lot of young guys. Only thing that's happening right now is that those young guys are getting better. And playing Power 5 teams like the way they have. And now they're at home, and they're gonna have the fans behind them. Let's see what happens now that they're playing at home in an environment, in a field, in a setting that they're used to.
Well, they thought they heard noise and they were under pressure last week. They're going to hear a lot of noise. It's going to be a lot of pressure. Everybody's booty going to be tight.
But it's going to be good. But it's going to be good noise for them. But it's going to be good noise for them, though. The fans are cheering for them, not against them.
You get nervous, you might not know the difference.
Jeez, I don't know if I can follow that one up.
Only John can say booty hole.
I didn't say nothing about the whole thing. I just said your booty get tight. You see them walking around there and can't hardly move.
This is how this is going to go. Okay. I want to talk about being at Memorial. This is a really special week. Matt Rule getting his first taste. I want to take you guys back to your first time stepping out in Memorial with the fans there and the experience. Obviously, it's changed since, but what hasn't changed about Nebraska and its fans and just that experience?
Well, the fans have always been the same. They've always been loyal. They've always been out there to cheer on the Big Red. And that's the one thing you can count on, whether Nebraska's winning or losing. The fans are the most loyal fans here, and they're going to be out to support this program, support Coach Rule. And I think it's a breath of fresh air that he's coming back home for this game here. Because now, there's a lot of the fans who weren't able to go on the road and see the team play in person. Just saw what you see on TV is not actually what happens in person when you go to these football games. But now these fans can watch it in person, and they're gonna see a total different football team. They're gonna see a team who's out there competing, who's out there who want to win. And I actually believe that they play for each other.
Well, I believe the fans are going to show up, and they want us. They want the players to show up, and it's just everybody's going to be tense. The players going to be tense. Matt's got to be tense, because this is his first game at Nebraska Stadium. Got everybody's looking and waiting. We have to have a win. There can't be more pressure. I can't imagine what could be more pressure than trying to get this first game. And we can't look past Northern Illinois. They beat us before. They gonna be bringing it.
Not this year.
Well, that's all right.
They brought it.
They didn't brought it, and they could think that they've done it before. They can do it again.
We live this is the present. Not
just think
they're
just gonna lay down and just take.
I ain't gonna say they're gonna lay down, but if Nebraska lose this game right here, then it's gonna be a really long season.
Well, that's where the pressure lies.
But I don't think it's in pressure. You look at this different. Pressure, I look at it as an opportunity. I truly do. I look at it as an opportunity to really get the fan base, really get the people behind this team, and what more to be able to play at home and get Coach Rule his first win.
Well, Tommie,
I truly believe that they're going to get it done.
Well, I hope they get it done.
No, I know they're going to get it done.
You didn't fumble from center either when you was playing, did you?
Yeah, but we didn't do a lot of shotgun though. That's different. We didn't do a lot of shotgun. That's the difference.
Yeah, it's a little different. They got a little bit more challenges going on. You can't take anybody for granted. On any day, anybody can beat you. You have to be mentally prepared and convinced that you can get it done. And we just don't want to look past this team to another team. That's one thing they always told us.
That's one thing you said. We can't go. This team is not good enough to look past anybody. They got to take each team as who they are.
Because we ain't good enough either.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We're not good enough.
We're not good enough to look past nobody. The boys club could get us if we give them the ball every other down.
But as long as they go out and take care of their business, protect the football, I don't think there's a chance that Northern Illinois can beat us.
Well, I think our defense is going to hold them. They're going to give us a chance. Our offense is not proven yet. We haven't proven that we can really get it done yet, and so it's going to be a little bit different. We can hold the score down, but to have to be favored by, what did you say, 10?
10.5.
We didn't hardly score 10. I mean, really, that's not a given that we're really going to get it yet because they haven't been able to get it going. We don't have special linemen. We ain't got nobody that tough at the tackle. We don't have really great receivers.
But why haven't we been able to score more than 10 points a game?
Because we give it up every series.
And so if
every quarter.
So if they stop turning the ball over, Nebraska can score a lot of points still. Because most of the turnovers have come, with the exception of 2 last week, have come in the red zone. Or when Nebraska's going down a drive. So they can stop, just go ahead and finish those drives. Coach Osborne used to always say a kick is just as good as anything.
Oh, yeah.
Punt, kick or kick a field goal.
That's my thing here. I'm really emphasis. Football is offense, defense, and special teams.
Every drive should end with a kick.
Kicking is in the special teams. And we can get 3 points every single time. We can keep on every single day. But
so if you punt the ball, that's a win for you because now you're basically playing field position.
Well, you put them back in the hole. You put them back in the hole, and they have to kick it back to you. But we have to do it a couple times. Right, like you said, that one time. We got to get that one big win. We haven't got it yet. When we don't want to take anybody for granted that they can't beat us because they can. They got human beings too.
Yeah, you still got to put the pants on. When they put the pants on the same way, you still got to go out and play the game.
That's right. Don't get that booty tight.
Here we go again.
Second strike, Johnny. All right, scouting Northern Illinois. So just briefly for people not very familiar, they just dropped a game to Southern Illinois 14-11. Probably where Tommie has not much confidence in that Northern Illinois team because they should have beat Southern Illinois on the books. Their quarterback, a 7th-year player, his name is Rocky Lombardi. So interesting there. His grandpa's name actually is Vince, but not Vince Lombardi. So sorry about that. He threw 3 picks last game. So they're kind of dealing with the same issues with turnovers. And then their defense is actually a 4-2-5. So interesting with 4 down linemen will be a lot more pressure on Nebraska. So offensive line is going to be a big question.
Well, I don't know. I would rather see the 4-2-5 more. Because now what you do, you put more skill, put more receivers on the field to spread them out. Mm-hmm. So there's ways like Nebraska plays a 3-3-5 or 3-3-5. It's hard. You put more receivers out there, but then the run game is better. So guys with 4 down linemen, you offset by putting more receivers, more skilled people on the field. So I think this plays into Nebraska's hand because I think they feel they have some young receivers, young players out there that can get open and do things on the perimeter.
Well, I think their quarterback is being an experienced quarterback, having been there a long time, really is going to make a difference in the confidence of the team because he's been there and done it, before, and he's a pretty tough guy himself, and they know what they're doing. So, well, like I said, we just got to know that they're about as desperate for winning as we are. We got 2 desperate teams out there, and somebody is going to win, and we got to see that we're going to be that one to win it, but it's just not a given.
Absolutely. And with the weapons on offense too, it's going to be a lot of young wide receivers coming in. You talk about those guys that haven't gotten that many snaps, but they're hungry, right? And so these are opportunities for guys in non-conference games to come in and really prove themselves and show themselves. Do you have any advice for those freshmen coming in? Again, it's a lot of pressure. You're at Memorial Stadium. You don't want to mess up.
The only pressure you have is the pressure you put on yourself. I always tell you young guys, you played this game a long time. There's a reason why you're at Nebraska. There's a reason why you're playing in the Division I program because you can do the job. Go out there and play the football the way you know how to play it. Don't go out there and think, react to what you see. And if they do that, they're going to be fine.
Well, I believe you got to tell them it's already over. It's already gone. They got to feel this is my time to shine. I wish we was playing number 1. I'm ready to get it done. I want to show everybody what I'm capable of doing. I'm coming from high school. I want to be the best. I want to be on the starting team. I want the opportunity to get me the ball. Don't leave me out. Throw me to get me. I will tell you, my plays. But they have to believe that they can do it and want to do it. And you don't have to go back and tell them and convince them and pump them all up and whatever. You have to keep them from killing somebody, hurt somebody. You got to have an attitude that you really are ready to do it. Somebody can't talk you into it. If you have to talk you into it, we need to get somebody else.
Yeah, you either have it or you don't. And at this point in your career, you either have it or you don't.
You got to be really wanting to get in that game. Wherever you are on that team, and whether you're first, second, third, fourth, wherever, you got to be wishing that you had that opportunity to get in the game.
And they're going to make mistakes. And they're going to make mistakes. That's fine. Make it full speed, though. When you make a mistake full speed, people respect that. When you make a mistake half speed or no speed, then you're not going to make it very long.
Well, we don't talk about it. It's no mistakes. We got to keep the mistakes down. Nobody has the opportunity to really be making mistakes. We will pull you. Period. The fewer mistakes we make, the more opportunities we have to win. So nobody is got to be thinking about mistakes are not forgiven. We're not, you're going to make, no, you don't have to. In the game of the century, like we had one mistake, one offside in the whole game in both teams. Both teams, one mistake.
And who won the game?
We did.
Because of that one mistake they made.
No, we made a mistake. It was offside.
So you guys were able to overcome that one mistake.
Offside.
Yeah, so I mean that's what
offside though. Offside not
and that's why I try to let people know there's gonna be mistakes made. You might not see them, but there's gonna be mistakes made in a football game.
They make them.
But it's the one who can overcome their mistakes the best. And because I have never seen a perfect game by anyone, any player at any given time. As a team, you might say it was perfect because you won the game and good things happen, but if you go back and watch film, you probably say, oh, this right guard didn't step away his guy, but the running back made a great play to nullify his mistake. But at the end of the day, who can make the fewer mistakes in a game usually is the one who's going to win football games.
Well, generally, Tommy, if you make a mistake and it don't cost you, it ain't a mistake. It's only the ones that cost you. Like I said, yeah.
For us, but when you get in the meetings and the coaches look at it, it's like, wait a minute, we won't knock you down because you stepped wrong. This guy, good thing you had Johnny Rodgers back there because he was able to make a guy miss.
Well, you got an opportunity for the next time. Yes. But the ones that hurt you are the ones that
right.
Yeah, those are the ones that we really call a mistake. And like I said, nobody's perfect, like you said, but to have a 5-yard offside penalty to be the only thing that happened in one of the biggest games in history shows how close and where you got to be. And I'm sure Alabama, they're not making too many mistakes, all the time.
Oh, yeah, they is. Yeah,
they winning like that.
If you saw the game against Texas, they made a lot of mistakes. They made tons of mistakes in that game.
Guys, I want to talk about Matt Rule and just his sentiment over the past press conferences, talking about how he knows this is still a good team, but he sees flashes, but the results obviously aren't there. And you guys talk about buy-in a lot and buying into that culture, and it obviously was a big part of your playing career because you buy into that Nebraska culture and what that is and that identity. As a fan from the outside, what makes you confident or maybe not confident in Matt Rule and just your showing of what he's given this team so far and what he's spoken about? We've only seen 2 games, obviously, but what makes you confident? What makes you not?
Well, here's what I'm looking at. And I very rarely go to football games, especially ones on the road. But I went on the road to Minnesota, I went on the road to Colorado, and I watched those games. Because the one thing I always want to see is how do kids respond to adversity on the road when things aren't going well. And what I saw in the first 2 games is that these kids didn't quit. They fought that battle. Even when they were offense turning the ball over, defense said, okay, it's up for us to stick it up. Now, in the second half of Colorado, things got a little out of hand. But you could tell they trust, they believe in what these coaches are teaching them. And that's the key there. First, your head coach, you got a lot of young guys playing, got a lot of guys playing for Coach Rule for the first time. And his message has been consistent. And in this day in sports, you have to be consistent with your message, consistent with who you are. You can't be one guy, one man, and one guy. I think him being consistent in his message and believing in them and saying, hey, if we do these things here, we're going to be successful. If we do these things here, we're not going to be successful. And that's what I'm seeing from these players. They're buying into his message.
Well, I went down and I've seen the team, and I watched Coach Rule coach. I watched people make mistakes, and he's pull them out and talk to them right there on the spot to correct that error right there at that particular time, to walk them through the deal. Now, to me, he seems like a good coach. The coaches seem like that they believe that he's a good coach. Whether they're buying in, I don't know. I just know that when we were playing, that I would rather slide bare ass on a razor blade than to disappoint Coach Devaney. Now, if they have that much commitment for their coach that they don't want to make mistakes and they don't want to lose, because not just for me, but for my team and my coach. And that tells me he's a really good, super coach, because it's not what I think that makes the difference. It's what they think that makes the difference. And they see him when he gets up in the morning or he stays up late at night, they see all the good things and the bad things, and how are they taking it? I don't really know.
But John, let me ask you this question though. When Coach Devaney recruited you, how many years had he been the head coach before he recruited you?
Oh, he several.
Okay, and so that's to me, that's the difference here.
But I didn't know him.
Well,
I didn't know him. I got to tell you when I knew him.
Well, I'm just saying, but
Yeah.
it's not. But you
Me.
knew. But I'm just saying. But he had been here several years, so he had already started laying his foundation before you got here.
He laid it here. Matt laid it other places. But I didn't know him until I knew him.
But you're missing the point. You said when you got here, he had already been here 2 or 3 years, and his foundation had already been laid. Now he knew that. Now I got to go get Johnny. I got to go get Rich. I got to get this player here. We got to give Coach Rule an opportunity to lay his foundation first.
Well,
and as Nebraska fans, and trust me, I want to see success right now. And I know fans want to see success. I just had a conversation with a guy. He's like, oh, it's the same thing. Give this guy a chance to lay his foundation. It's only been 2 games. And after the first season, you're going to know what his foundation is. And then let him build off that. But people saying that whether he's a good coach or not, it's hard for me to say whether he's a good coach or not because this is the first year here and he's trying to lay a foundation change. And change the culture of what Nebraska football has been for the last 20 years.
Well, Bob Devaney had been here a while. He hadn't had winning seasons since Jesus was a kid. It's been a long time. So he really had anything really laid down. He had to come in and get it established. Just like Matt's doing. He came out and got players just like Matt's doing. It's like it's the first year because he had to rebuild. Just like Matt's coming here rebuilding from where he was. Now he's coming and doing the same thing because he's done it before. And hopefully he knows how to do it because the team that he came from, he took to be a winning team. They took him to be winning.
His last 2 college teams.
Yeah, to be winning. He didn't take them to nothing great, but they were winning. They were winning teams.
Right.
Yeah. So we hope that we can do that. But when you give any man, I think $75 million, you want it now. I expect a little bit more out of him than I do. Devaney didn't get $75 million.
Yeah,
he got a decent deal.
Yeah, I mean your philosophy. Johnny, we don't always agree on everything. This one where we don't always agree on everything. And yeah, $75 million is a lot of money.
Yeah,
but there's a reason why they had to pay him $75 million to come in here and clean this crap up that was going on down there.
Well,
we'll
see.
So I'm not going to judge this. I'm not going to judge Coach Rule and his staff and his team off 2 games. It's 2 games on the road. There's no other Power 5 school that I can think of that played their first 2 games on the road. Everyone else has at least had 1 game at home.
Well, that's great. I hope we pull out of it, but we're in a hole now. We lose another game. It's going to be very hard with our schedule to get to the bowl game. If we lose another game now, it's going to put a lot of pressure on it.
Why you worry about the bowl game? The objective is to win each game.
No, my goal is for us sometime to get to a bowl game.
I think everybody goes.
And my deal is always now.
I want to be somewhere partying in December too. I want the extra part. I want the extra bowl practice too.
I'm ready to go now. See, so I want it now. So it makes it a little bit more difficult when you lose 2 in a row. If you put a lot more pressure on you, you can't afford to lose that 3rd game. Because you got a long way to go.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. But I'm not going to sit here and say that if they don't go to a bowl game this year, that this season was a success because. We gave other coaches 5 years, they gave some 4 years.
They weren't a success either.
And they didn't go to bowl games. So I mean, eventually something will have to change and we stop getting rid of people because the more you can continue to change at the top, it's always going to be shambles at the bottom. Because now, especially with the NIL, transfer portals going on, NIL, kids aren't going to continue coming to you when they know that every 3 or 4 or 5 years you're getting rid of a coach. Or your AD is changing, or your university president changing. Eventually, you got to say, okay, the buck stops now, that we're going to build this the right way. I know the times are different, times change, but you got to show confidence in the person that you hire.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's why we kept Tom a while, because he won and we kept him.
And what was his knock? He couldn't win the big one. He couldn't win the championship. Then he finally got over the hump. I mean, sometimes it takes a little bit longer for teams and to get over the hump.
I sure wish we had that problem. Just can't win the big one, but we win all the rest of them.
Yeah, and who knows?
That'd be good enough for me. We ain't gonna win the big one, but we got a winning season every year.
Right, and
that's a good problem.
And parity in college football is what's making college football exciting.
What does?
Parity. Because you don't have just one team dominating anymore.
I don't know. I want to be the dominant team.
But
what about y'all? Y'all want to dominate?
Yeah, of course
I want to dominate.
Of course you want to. Of course you want to dominate. But the
I want to be a dominant. I want to beat a midget with a club.
Who don't want to be a dominant? Well, a midget with a club don't always win though. A midget with a club don't always win.
If I got a club, he ain't got no chance with me.
John Pellegrini, a little person. It's not a midget, little person.
No, I'm talking about a midget,
That's
little person.
right.
They call them little people. They call them little people, not midgets anymore.
Well, I'm gonna beat him down.
I told that guy.
I want to be on top no matter what. Like I said, winning isn't everything, but in Nebraska, we rate it right up there with oxygen. It's pretty darn important, isn't it? Yes. Yeah, we got to win at all costs, right? We want to be honorable. We don't want to do anything on the table.
No, she said, no, we got to win at all costs. She's like, no, we got to win at all costs.
Well, that's what's honorable. We never, like I remember being under the power and guys would twist my ankles and try to gouge you in the eyes, and they bite you and do all different type of things when they got you. Coach Tabati always told we never tried to do things like that. We were very ethical. We play it by the rules of the game, and we're going to win honorably.
Johnny,
but we're going to win.
But both of us sit here because we played on championship teams, played in successful programs. But for me, that was almost 30 years ago.
Well, 50 years ago.
So times have changed in the way college football is done. The principle, everyone wants to be dominant. But when I played, there was 115 scholarships. Now there's only 85. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about 30 less people that can come to the University of Nebraska that probably would have come because of scholarships that aren't going. So they're missing out on a lot of players. So you got to try to put the best 85 scholarships together you can. So I think now with the transfer portals and the NIL money, people being out there approached by coming to my university because I'm going to pay you more. The dominant programs might be 2, 3, 4 years, but then they're going to fall off. And then you're going to find some other schools come up. I think Nebraska is prime in a situation right now to where no one's giving them a chance. So now there's time for them to start coming up. And I believe they will.
We can see that. I remember clearly that our dominant part was our first team and our second team on offense and defense. That basically comes out to, was that 44 people or something? We had other people that were on the team. We had 80 some odd people, but I don't even remember half of them's name. They were part of the program for practices and for different things like that. But we had our primary first team and second team on offense and defense, and we had the guys who were on special teams. And a lot of those guys came from the offense and defense that were played in the first on first and second team. So we didn't need everybody. We just need a good first. When a man gets tired, he's got a backup, and we can fix first and second should be getting in there all the time with each other, so we can push each other. We don't need everybody. Everybody's not going to be able to play. They might want to play, but they can't play. We got to pay our best players. So we play in first and second team people all the time. And so we should be able to pick us a couple of different players for every single position that they can alternate and see how they're going to be able to work it too. So when I get tired, I want somebody to come in for me. But we can't lose a step. We can't lose a step when we make that move. And we're always talking about winning. In 2 or 3 years when we build this program, half those guys ain't going to be here. They're not going to be here. They don't have careers anymore.
But it's not about whether they're going to be here or not. Those are the guys that are going to look back and say, "Yep, I helped build that foundation." Yeah, because the younger guys are coming here now. They see there's a culture built here, and that's the biggest problem. I mean, the biggest problem in Nebraska before now is culture, and that's the whole athletic program from when you go from as many ADs that we had to the men's head coach. They all came with their own type of culture they wanted to have. Mm-hmm. And John, we talked about this the other day to where what do they do for former players? What's the culture of former players coming back? How come they don't ask the former players to be around a lot more? Well, back when you were there, when Bob DeVan was there, he wanted the players around because of the type of culture he wanted. So you gotta build a foundation. You gotta establish a culture to where, because we all can help in this equation. And I think Coach Rule, that's the number one thing. He wants the former players to be around. He wants them to have access to practices. He wants them to be around the players. Before, it wasn't that way. And I just think that give him time, you're going to see some of the things that I went through, that you went through, come back.
Well, we have no problem getting him time. We gave him enough money. He's going to get some time.
Well, they got no choice.
He's going to get some time. We're going to give him time to work it out, buddy.
You don't want to pay a lot of guys that you're going to give him time.
We just paid our last one a lot more, and he didn't work it out.
But you paying this one more.
He need to work it out.
So we're going to give him time.
Well, like I said, I just hope that, and I do not know, the effect that he's having on the players. And that's the big thing that not whether I like you or believe in you. If your players like you and believe in you, if they see that they're really getting better, they are really learning, then you're giving me an opportunity to my next step, I can go to the pros. I can go to the big time because the things that I'm learning around here by you and the culture that you're building, the camaraderie that we're building, that we can take into the NFL, and I'm going to be able to be somebody. If I give you my best, then good things are going to happen to me. If I give you my best and it ain't happening, then that's a discouragement. That's going to take me back. I'm going into the portal. They're going to have guys who are going to transfer like they were doing before because they didn't like what was going on.
Well, you're gonna have that anywhere you go.
If they don't like what's going on, but if you got 24, you got 42 guys that are really think that we really got it going on. We can win together.
Yeah, but
they're not going nowhere.
But you got guys transfer from Georgia who they won back-to-back championships because they felt they should have been playing. Well, if they felt they should have been playing, they would have been out on the field.
Right.
So I always tell people, coaches don't keep the best guys on the sidelines because their job is on the line. So if you can play, they're gonna find a way position where you get you on the field because they know that this day and age, I might have you 1, 2, maybe 3 years, and you're gonna be gone.
Well, I'm telling you, first and second team, they on the field. John Dutton and Monty Johnson, they were second team. They played second team when I played.
Right, but they played quite a bit though.
Right, but they were second team. But they got in all the time, and they went to the NFL. Were all pro.
Right.
For years and years and years. That's the type of thing. When you bring in your second team, you don't miss a beat. So they're going to get to play. You're going to have, 40 some odd guys don't get to play, and you got special teams. And that's another thing. We got to emphasize more on special teams. You got to pick guys that you believe that can't, but they're not going to play, maybe not playing in their first offense, but he can catch. He can run that punt back. We got to get some yards on punt returns. We got to penetrate on kickoff returns. We got to keep our offense. Got to get us in a position that we can kick. The worst thing that happen to us is we get 3.
We punt. we punt the ball. The worst thing is a punt.
Well, we can punt all the time, but I want to get 3 points.
I know, but like I said, it should 3 things: punt, field goal, extra point.
You got to get a good punter, but our best thing is if we get close enough to get 3.
Yeah. But even if you punt the ball, that means you didn't turn it over.
Well, if we can punt it and keep them down in the hole, then we got a good start for our defense to get them down there close so we can hold them, and then we get 3. But some kind of way, we got to get some points. We can't be going up and down the field and end up with third quarter, we got 7.
All right, before we wrap it up in here and then open it up for the floor to ask some questions of these guys, I have one that's been burning in my head. Coach Osborne, I didn't personally get to see him coach based upon my age, unfortunately, but what made him so good? What made him a great coach? I want to know.
Well, this is a question for me because I was with him every day for 4 years, and to me, I hated it towards the end of my career because he was always in meetings with me. But I think the one thing that made him a great coach was he was very consistent with every player, to where when you walk into the room, he knew you, he knew your parents, he knew your brother, he knew your sister, he knew if you were married, your wife, you had kids, he knew everything. And people know he was also a psychologist. He was a psychologist. So he knew how to play those games to where he could get you to do things that most coaches couldn't do.
Slide bears on a razor blade.
Yes, but at the end of the day, what you saw with him is who he was. And I think there's a lot to be said about that he truly loved you outside of football. You're a lot of coaches who just care about you just because you're a football player. But I still talk with him today, and he's asking about my kids. He's asking about work. He asks about my parents. I mean, so that's what made him a great coach, and it made him a great. It making me a better person today.
We could ask the same thing about Coach Devaney as well.
And Coach, I was there with Coach Osborne. They started. Coach Osborne was the offensive coach when we started. Then he turned out to be the offensive coordinator, and he went on to be a head coach. As soon as we left, he took over the job. The most significant thing that I knew about him, that we could be out partying on Friday and Saturday night, and we come back in 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and those lights were on in the field house where he was still up there looking at film. He was studying the game. He was really into what he was doing to the highest degree. And when he called a play, we were confident it was going to work. But Van didn't call the plays. Tom called the plays, because he was the offensive coordinator. He called the plays, but he studied the game. His work ethic. He and I used to catch passes and run steps more after practice than we did during practice.
Because you didn't turn the ball over.
Huh?
You didn't turn the ball over.
Never. No, we never turned the ball over. I'm telling you, it was the worst sin that you could do on our team if you turned the ball over, or if you made a mistake or you had a fumble, any kind of thing that hold our team back. It was just a no-no.
Right.
This didn't happen. I mean, so it happened here and there, but it was just here and there because everybody knew that that's exactly what we didn't want to do. And like I said, he was working so hard and Devaney was on it so much that we really came out that he was players coach, for the players. And we knew that. So we didn't have a problem in giving him our best all the time, especially when you give him your best, you're going somewhere too. And that's what it's going to take on the next level. You learn that in high school and you carry it on to college, and then that will take you to the pros. And when you got guys that you really believe in like that, that's helping you as much as you're helping yourself, it motivates you to win, and you push the players. You want everybody to think like this. We got to win now. We could go someplace. We could do some things now, not years later, now.
Absolutely. Well, let's turn it over to the audience. We got any questions out here? Got one back there. Ethan?
How do you get rid of the...
Hold on. Get the microphone.
Oh, shoot. I'm eating a wing. How do you get rid of the mentality that we can't win the close one? We've lost, what's our record in the last 2 years? 1 and whatever in close games. How do we get rid of that mentality? It's new players, but the mentality in the locker room is still the same, it feels like.
You just got to get them to believe that no matter how tough it gets or how tough the times get, that we're going to pull it out. And once you do it once, then you know you can do it. But every time, if you haven't done it, because every time you've done it, you've always come on the short end of the stick, then you're not going to believe you can do it. All it takes is one time to do it. So once they do it one time and win a close game, or whether at the end of the game kick a field goal or they have to stop someone from scoring, you all you got to do is one time. And once you do it once, then it becomes repetitive because you know you can do it. It's believing. But you got to do it once before you can believe.
Well, I believe you got to get a winning season once. You can put a win together here and there, but you got to get some consistency going in order to really get the faith going. We got to be able to do it over and over. Like I said, we got to beat you down. A team like Northern Illinois, that we can just rule them. We can just do what we want to do with them. We can do everything we're thinking about practicing that we've been working on, that we can work it. I mean, we can work it. We can make them do what we want them to do. And we can dominate them because we should be. And so once you get to the point where you should be, then you keep working that and you get better at working that. But you got to be dominant. Teams like this, you just can't look past. We have to beat them down. Just a regular win is not really good enough on a team like this. And they could get us. They've gotten us before. We're looking at them. So we have, like I said, we really have to really want it. And I don't know, you're saying that we have that in our minds and that's already transpired. I don't know how they got there. But we've got to get out there where we're not winning the big ones, and we win all the big ones.
But his question was, how do you win a close game? Not a big, how do you win a close game? Not because any game is just win a close game. And so that's what he wanted to know. But if you win one close game, then you know how to do it. But when you haven't done it, then you can't. You're not gonna win them. So you might say, "Oh, here we go again." But once you win that once, then now we can do this. It's up to us now. And so that's that. But you gotta do it once.
Well, it helps if it's a tough game, we just beat them all down. That way it don't be close.
We got another one down here in front.
We're looking at probably the world's best quarterback.
Well, thank you.
And the world's best wide receiver returner. I'm really concerned about the offensive line. I've seen it for the last 20 years. They're lousy. They haven't improved. I didn't see it in the last 2 games. What are we going to do? Who do they have as wide receivers can run a pattern so he can throw the ball to them, even if it's a short pattern? Number 2, how are we going to recruit some decent offensive linemen and train them to hit the guy right in the nose, right in front of them? I don't get it.
That's flagrant foul now. They don't let you do that. No, they call that bull blocking. That's what we used to do. I really think that taking a look back at our offensive line, they were moving the ball. They moved the ball, and we caught the ball. It was the turnovers that really took us out of the game. If they could have kept going at the pace that they were going and been able to, without the turnover, drive it on in, based on where they started and where they got the turnover, they were driving it on in. It would have happened had not the turnover happened, because we were winning. We were winning on the line. They were doing their job. We don't have nobody great, but they were getting the job done. I have to give them that. They were getting the job done, and I'm confident that they would have scored touchdowns had they not turned the ball over.
Yeah, I just think that when we look at our offensive line back in the past, and they were the hard nose, get down, put your foot down, white knuckles, red knuckles, let's go. That's not the style of offense. And so you have to recruit guys based off your style of offense. They got to be more agile, more quick feet. They got to be strong, be big, but then they're not taught. Then this style of not just firing out the ball. It's zone, more like zone blocking, double down type deal, which is okay. But if you watch a lot of college football teams today, that's what they're doing. Even Alabama who was the last team lineup, they're not doing that anymore because the times have changed, offensive have changed. I can't say that I've seen improvement in this offensive line. I have seen improvement in the wide receiver play. I have seen improvement in the running game. But turnovers is beating this team offensively. And if you stop those turnovers, Nebraska will probably be 2-0. Now, if they were 2-0, would this conversation be different? Would the demeanor of the crowd be different? Mm-hmm. So by me saying that, we know the root of Nebraska's failures right now, turning the ball over. So if they turn the ball over one time during the game, it gives themselves probably an 80% better chance of winning the game than turning it over 4. Because the first 2 games they have 8 turnovers. 4 games. You can be Dallas Cowboys when they win the Super Bowl. You turn the ball over 4 times a game, you're not going to win games. Bottom line. So to me, that's the focus for me, is that protect the football. If they do that, then they're going to give themselves a chance to win. A better chance.
Any more questions from the crowd? Miss Avery Howard has one.
Anna kind of asked my question about what it was like having the 2 coaches you guys had and just the advice they'd given you. And I know you guys weren't on teams that have gone through droughts or toughest times as the team is going through right now, but when there were weekends or games that you guys lost or didn't reach the standard that Nebraska football was used to, what was it about the coaching staff or Coach Devaney and Coach Osborne that knew how to make those adjustments immediately or rose the level back to the standard so quick?
Well, I can go back to my freshman year. I think it was my 3rd start when we lost to Iowa State on the road. And then we coming off beating Colorado on Halloween that year, which was ranked number 8. Then we come back and beat Kansas, which was ranked number 10. Then we go to Iowa State, Ames Island, and play them, losing them 19-10. And Coach Osborne kept telling us during practice, guys, the way you're practicing this week, you're going to lose this game. And it was like, oh, Coach, it's Iowa State. It was Iowa State. and guess what? We go on the road and we lose the game. And so the coaches didn't have to say much to us because they had already told us prior to the game that if we don't pick it up in practice, improve in practice, we're not going to win. So we took it upon ourselves to never let that happen again, to where we did more time film studying. Some guys did more time lifting weights. Some guys did more time catching balls. Sometimes did more time individual blocking skills. So I don't think this team is there yet, but I think the coaches can help by being consistent in their message and not blowing a gasket. Because when you're not being successful, you start blowing a gasket, then that's when you really start losing the players. And I don't think Coach Rule is doing that. I don't think he needs to do that right now. I think he just needs to still be supportive and say, hey, guys, we have something great here going. We have something good here going. This is what's stopping us from getting over the hump. And just pick up those things that we can do better. We do these better, we'll be successful. And I think that's what they're doing.
Well, we really had it hard. We lost twice in 3 years. It was hard. I remember it was so hard in my senior year. We took it out of Notre Dame at the end and beat them 46-6. That's how you show it's getting to you. You just take the next team and you go in and kick that ass.
Is that all, Johnny?
Yeah. No, unless they got more ass.
Oh boy!
Whoever-
All right.
whoever
Any more
shows up can
questions
get
out
it.
there? All right. Before we wrap everything up, quick keys to the game for a Nebraska win.
Don't turn the ball over. And I'm gonna say that every week, and that's one. And believe it or not, that's a major factor in every game. The team who turns the ball over the least usually win the game and get turnovers. And defensively, get off the field on third downs.
Well, I believe we have to play this team like they're the number one team in the country. They're the toughest team. We haven't beat nobody yet. We have to prove ourselves, and we got to play them as hard and beat them down as hard as we can to make an example out of them. And we have to put more efforts in special teams. But the coaches have to emphasize that special teams. We got to get somebody's confident that we can run kickoff returns and we're going to get some yards. Put our best punt guy back. Make sure we get a return back. Make sure that that we keep it in field position where we can get the 3 points here and the 3 points there. And like I said, and it's not good to make mistakes. Tell them if you whoever makes the mistakes on 130 stairs
In practice.
Right? And then just walk your ass on up there and get the stairs. All right.
That's what
but this is it.
That's what we did.
Yeah,
And
that's
we got
what
to the
we
point
did.
to where we found the ball. We didn't have to say,
Oh,
we didn't
yeah.
have to say anything. We just took our helmets and went up
You
the stairs.
run 30 goddamn stairs up them stadium
You're gonna
stairs.
get tired of doing it.
You're not gonna make no mistake. You're not fumbling. No, it's a big difference. Holding on to the ball, running 30 stairs, you're gonna hold it with your life. They got to tear it out your teeth.
And another key I have, we can't have pre-snap penalties. We can't have pre-snap penalties.
No.
If you stop the offsides or jump
Offside.
offsides, you can't have that.
Can't do that. That's a mistake.
Because you haven't even given yourself a chance to run a play to get a holding penalty or anything.
That's horrible.
Because pre-snap penalties is all mental.
Well, guys, thank you so much. Everyone, thank you for coming out here. Matt
Thank
Rule's
you.
debut
Yes,
at Memorial
thank you,
Stadium.
thank you.
Give him a round of applause.
All right. Husker.
Johnny, I feel like you need to end this on a Go Big Red chant.
Go Big Red. Go Big Red. All right, Husker power.
Woo-hoo.
We in it to win it, y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Now.